Hi, I'm Martha Manikis Foster, and I am someone who comes here to the bridge. And some of you have asked me to describe what this is that has shown up when you first walk into the church. And so this is a mosaic. It's made of many pieces of clay, and clearly it has something to do with Jesus, right? Because there's a cross in the middle. This, for me, is a way of describing our story in the family of God. And if you'll bear with me for a minute, let me describe how I would suggest you look at it. At the top, on the left, I would suggest you go down blue, and then as though there's that yellow stripe, and then a green stripe, and then back to blue. We start with God creating out of the void. And so pictures that have to do with the first books of the Bible, the Pentateuch. So we have the beginning of the story. We have creation. We have the giving of the law. And then up here, maybe not very easy to see, we have the snake lifted up on the pole so that when the children of Israel were in trouble, God provided rescue. And if you want to look back and look at that story, it has to do with them being bitten by snakes. And that by lifting this up, which gets referenced later on in the life of Jesus, by lifting this up, God said, I have a way for you to be rescued. Then we go to the yellow, which is in broad terms, other parts of the Old Testament. And if you remember the story of Elijah, he does amazing things in demonstrating the power and the supremacy of God. But then he's weak, and God rescues him through ravens, of all things. Then we go to the story of the life of Christ. So we have his incarnation and Advent. We have references to wheat. So we have the disciples doing their inappropriate harvesting on the Sabbath. He was with fishermen. And then a crown of thorns. We have nails. And then we have the cross and the empty tomb. Then we go over to here. This is the life of the church, the Spirit living through us, and part of the story of our story with God. So we have the basin for foot washing and the water. We have the bread and the chalice. We have the way that we work with each other. So frequently, we're building things, we're fixing things for each other in the family. A quilt, because like a mosaic, a quilt is made up of many, many different pieces, and it comes together. And also we happen to have quilters in our church. And then the idea of it coming to eventually the new kingdom, which would bring us back to the garden, which let me describe these other quadrants around the cross. So the brightly colored quadrant there represents, to me anyway, the garden, the perfection in creation. Then we have God's rescue and his promise through the rainbow. We have the nativity, the incarnation, the answer to the promise from long ago. And then we have the life in the Spirit, because the Spirit is what continues in through us the story of God. Of course, right in the center is the cross, but it's an empty cross. It's the cross that is the vehicle for our redemption, our transformation, and then the flame, which represents usually as a symbol of the Holy Spirit.